So that wasn't the first time that Shadow had them dig something up just to leave. I'm sorry that stood out like a sore thumb to me. I had a massive problem last episode with Shadow just leaving Delta behind to dig. And we find out he's done it once before. So I don't know, maybe that was an intentional joke there, but yeah. Absolutely fantastic episode, and we all know why. Andrew thinks that episode 8 of Eminence Shadow second season is the best episode of the series so far. Almost no Shadow. Almost no Shadow in this episode. Just nothing but Shadow Garden, which Andrew has admitted that he adores. Though the only stain in the episode is honestly the fact that his friends are there, which I don't even know their names. I don't even want to implant in my head what their names are because I still hate them. Now, granted, I will give a little credit here. My reasons for hating Shadow's friends is that they are just literally the same joke over and over and over again. And granted, in this episode, their joke is that they're trying to get with girls and they have no clue what they're doing. They suck at it and all that kind of stuff. They're losers. That's the joke. But at least it's not just one guy. The one guy that literally every single time he's in the scene, it seems like it has something to do with him placing too many bets, losing too much money, and having collections come and sell him off to the trade. But no, pool episode with Shadow Garden. Absolutely loved it. Great shots of all the girls. They're fantastic. The chemistry between them, which is, I already mentioned the fact that one of my issues with the series is that there's not enough Shadow Garden. And it's always sad that seemingly all of the interactions between them is done in these shorts on the side that you have to go out of your way to go watch. They're not on the usual platforms. They're over here on YouTube or something like that. You have to wait for translations, all that kind of stuff. That's where all the interactions are. And it's just chibi characters talking to each other. But here we're actually getting them in full color, full display and everything, which is fantastic. But no, starting the episode proper, opening it up with, yes, his two friends coming to his house to try to get him to come with them so they can go pick up girls, specifically pick up the Mitsuboshi girls. Mitsugoshi? I don't know why I want to say Mitsuboshi. What I got a kick out of is when they first enter the room, it's just like the situation with Claire. Like, they come into his room and he literally has on display his two disguises. And I don't I wonder if the novel series specifically points that out, or if it's just the animators are just trying to make a joke there. But, like, they literally come in and there is his identities right there. But yeah, they find the tickets for the hot springs that Shadow Garden apparently left them. I don't remember seeing that whole scene. Maybe it was just after this, because I totally thought this was going to be before the Bushin Festival ended, because that room looked like the one that he had during the Bushin Festival. Unless they're just reusing assets, which I can totally see. When I seen that room... I immediately thought that it was back there at the other kingdom. But yes, the fact that the mask is there is an indication that this is after that. But no, they go off to use the tickets in order to pick up Mitsugoshi girls because apparently only royalty and nobles can have these tickets. But no, they're immediately brought in to be interrogated because they got these tickets that were meant for Shadow. And as per usual, the Shadow Garden immediately thinks that this is all a test. This is all a plan from Shadow, that he sent the two of them to go do this. It's kind of sad here because if you think about it, it's literally Shadow's two dumb friends somehow managed to confuse Shadow Garden. Like, Shadow Garden is so used to the idea that Shadow does whatever he wants to do, that because these two randos come in with these tickets, they're thinking, well, maybe it's one of his plans because he never talks to us. So obviously, maybe he just did this in order to get us there. But no, that turns into a whole massive meeting with the entire Shadow Garden to decide what they're going to do with these tickets. There is some lore behind this episode, and the idea that there's this area that is known for having this folk tale of this dragon's tear, which is this princess that apparently befriended a dragon, and battle came, they killed the princess, and then she, in her last dying breath, dropped a tear. The dragon flooded the area with his tears, and the princess was healed by it, but the dragon was, like, gone after that. And because of that, yes, Sid decided to tell them, dig, keep digging, and then 3 days later, he just ditches. Like I said, just like with Delta, he just like, all right, dig this entire area up. All right, peace out, I'm gone. I'm bored. I'm gonna go do something else. Oh, he's such a jerk. Oh, I hate Sid so much. But no, they apparently found his hot spring and they built a resort. Now, when they said that the hot springs was like this after effect of something that Sid had done, like some sort of the shadow knowledge or whatever, I kind of assumed it was going to be this case where he was going to bestow upon them the concept of a hot springs pool resort. But no, he just literally told them to dig here and then left. And apparently they got some knowledge somewhere else, maybe from a book or something that he told me before, to build a resort. It's another one of those kind of modern entities of his previous life that was bestowed upon them that they end up creating in this world. But obviously that's all just an excuse to see all of Shadow Garden in bikinis. But now before then they have to decide who goes there. Nu is like, well, they invited me, so I guess I have to go. And then immediately Alpha's like, hell no, you're not going. It's got to be one of the 7. And then one of the 7, you think they're going to burst out in a battle or something like that. But no, it just turns up being rock, paper, scissors. Which ends up being pretty much most of the best girls, which I was kind of surprised by. It's typically Alpha, Beta, and Gamma. Like, those are the 3 that seem to get the most airtime. So I would assume that somehow the writer would rope those 3 in. Or they could somehow manage to rope in Rose because she was such a staple figure in the first season. Which, honestly, didn't even matter because in the end, they all end up going anyways. It's just those 3 had to be on the date. And the reason why they were so badly wanting to be on the date is because there was a possibility that Shadow was there and then they would be technically dating Shadow. But they all end up going there, which was great. I do like sprinkle within here, there is sort of a nice message. For once, their misunderstanding what Shadow wants ends up becoming something that is a positive, and the idea that Alpha at some point realizes, okay, yeah, is this a mission? Is there something we're supposed to be looking for in the hot springs? Or is it simply that he wants us to take a break? We've been battling for so long, endlessly. Maybe he just wanted us to have a day off. Which, yes, if you think about it, is extremely tragic. Like I said, it's kind of similar to the previous episode. It's one of those things that's kind of a joke. It is the joke. But at the same time, if you really think about it, it's kind of tragic in the idea that these girls have been working for the benefit of Shadow their entire lives. And you can probably assume this is the first time they've ever had a day off. Which makes you wonder if they would be even knowing how to do that. I mean, they imply the fact that they do have days off. That they do have paid time off and all that kind of stuff. But they probably don't take it. But yes, because pull episodes have to be this way, literally the entire cast of the series somehow manages to come here on the same exact day. It's the grand opening, but still, like, Elizabeth is there with Mary. Yukime was there for like a split second. Everybody's there. I think the only person that I didn't see, I don't think I seen Rose. I think Rose was the only one that I didn't see. Unless she was like in the background somewhere. Like even Lambda was there, which was kind of a shock. I think Lambda is usually always with the training camp. And yeah, technically, unfortunately, I don't think Aurora was there either, which that wouldn't make sense either. But why does Elizabeth make sense and why wouldn't Aurora make sense? She was there in spirit, obviously, with Claire. Claire wasn't there. That's right, Claire wasn't there either. Never mind, there was a lot of girls that weren't there. Surprising. Yes, I did like the changing room scene. Really good. I think they could have... I think they held back a lot. I think the only one that got, like, overly risque with the camera angles was Beta. Everybody else was just kind of very standard shots. So I'm kind of a little bit surprised they didn't go a little bit more over the top with it. But at the same time, I was interested to see that, yes, they finally confirmed that Epsilon can technically make her suit skin tone. A while back, the Eminence and Shadow mobile game had this banner that had all the swimsuits. And Epsilon was on there and she was stacked. And I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense because canonically she is not stacked. My assumption was always that the slime that she puts over herself is the thing that's creating the stackness. But apparently she can change the skin tone of it, so never mind. I guess even in a bikini, she can cover that up. My assumption was that she would have like a one piece or something like that to cover it up, but no, that was not the case. But yeah, they have their fun. Zeta and Delta are just going at each other. Again, Alpha's trying to figure out what to do, but at the same time, she's acknowledging that it could be that they're just trying to take a break. And eventually the girls go off to the baths, and we have the dumb friends trying to peek in on the bath. And eventually they get sprayed in the eyes by Etta, and that's when they sort of see a reaction. And that starts to get in the whole Dragon's Tear thing where they string up Beta, and she brings out an artifact that you insert in the rectum in order to increase bowel movements. Oh, that was a little bit far. And apparently, getting into the boot camp treatment, like apparently Lambda confirms that their whole system for how they train the girls is this whole thing, just like a drill sergeant, where they break down their character, insult them, and then Beta starts crying, the dragon shows up, and all that kind of stuff. And then they end up reusing the assets, the animations from the OP of the first season in a combat against the dragon. Now, I could probably assume that is just a nod to the first season's whole thing there. Maybe this is like an outfit they'll use on a regular basis going forward. But yeah, it was just pretty much the same shots from the OP of the first season, which was kind of odd. They beat it up, and then the dragon comes over and licks Beta before it leaves. And then they assume that that was the reason why they were supposed to be there, was in order to free the dragon. Which I'm curious if that'll end up being a thing later on. Is it literally they were freeing that spirit, or if the dragon's going to come into play later on? Because it seems like the dragon took favor to Beta. Maybe later on Beta can use the dragon. I get a massive kick out of Delta and Zeta's like chemistry between the two of them. Now, I did see through most of the chibi animations they do on the side, that seems to be an ongoing shtick between Zeta and Delta, Mutt and She-Cat, but I just love hearing Delta constantly saying, "I'm not a mutt. Delta's not a mutt." Delta was really cute this episode. I especially like the changing room. It looks like she actually takes a lot of effort into kind of dressing herself up. You typically think that like somebody would probably have to tie her down and dress her properly, but she was actually taking it really seriously. But no, overall, just a fun episode. I really appreciate these kind of episodes to kind of take a break. Honestly, yes, it is the trope pull episode, but I think it was a really nice episode, and mainly because, yes, I like seeing more of Shadow Garden, just to see the shenanigans they're going through, and yes, take a little bit of break from Shadow. I was a little surprised to get this episode here, because I assumed that we were going to have, a solid, 5 episodes to the next arc, but apparently 4 is going to be enough, so hopefully they can cover the next arc in just 4 episodes. I really did like Eda's outfit. Well, it was like at the first scene, like in the changing room, she just pours this goo on herself. And she's like, it could be transparent too. And everybody's like, oh, it could be transparent? Alpha's over there like, no, that's not allowed. That's against the rules. You're not allowed to do that. But yeah, she ends up having like a bunny outfit the entire episode, which was super spicy. I really like the bunny outfit. It was a funny attention to detail how they actually go out of the way to show how the shorts work for Zeta and Delta. It just got like this little hole that just goes down like this, and they just pull it up and it somehow stays straight. I just assume most of the time it's just like a hole they poke in it that their tail goes through, but no, it's just kind of just sits underneath it. Sometimes you need answers to things like that, but anyhow, that's my thoughts on episode 8, the Puru episode of Eminence and Shadow, 2nd season. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure that like button down below, comment. Let me know who you think had the best swimsuit. If you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button so you got my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Or just leave one to support the channel more. I have a Patreon link, tips, links, super things, membership button down below. Greatly appreciate what it does, and y'all take care.